Hey guys, it's me Seren back with another video. Y'all already know what this video gonna be about. This video gonna be about crazy ass Rachel Dolezal. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Rachel Dolezal. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, however you pronounce it. Yo, this chick is nuts. Like, this story is really bizarre. This story is really bizarre. And honestly, I think this woman is disturbed. I think she's mentally disturbed. I'm sure we've all heard of it because the whole internet fucking exploded last night with this story. But for anyone that doesn't know, basically, this woman Rachel Dolezal, um, she's white. She has two white parents, and when she was younger, her parents adopted four black kids, and so she like grew up with these kids in her household, and she kind of, I don't want to say that she became obsessed, but maybe she developed a fascination with black people and I guess black culture. The story is so weird. She developed this like fascination, obsession, whatever you want to call it, with black people from having these four black siblings, foster siblings, or whatever, adopted siblings. So when she got older, she ended up going away to school. She attended Howard. She ended up getting all these degrees in African studies and stuff like that. And she moved as an adult to Spokane, Washington. And basically, this bitch just reinvented herself. She reinvented herself as a black woman. So she, essentially moved to this small town where no one knew anything about her. And she started tanning her skin and wearing this bronzer and this self tanner to make herself look darker. She started wearing these wigs, like natural hair wigs, and some people have also said that she permed her hair to get like this curly, kinky look, and also wearing braids and box braids and faux locks and things like that. And she created this convoluted backstory about her upbringing. Talk about being raised in teepees and all kind of crazy shit about her parents, saying her parents were black and she had this, this certain upbringing. And then she also included in her convoluted story about her upbringing this story that she was abused by her parents, and I believe that she was sexually abused by her father. And that was her explanation as to why she didn't have any contact with her family or with her parents, and also as a kind of deterrent to keep people from asking too many questions, or from looking too deeply or reaching out trying to talk to her parents. Like, this bitch basically had like the perfect lie. She created a whole lie world. And then she started doing this activism work. She was a professor, an adjunct professor. She's teaching African American studies. She's teaching Africana. She's teaching classes about the struggles of black women, essentially in blackface. Basically she's a white woman in blackface that's been living in blackface, living her life as a black woman for the last 6 to 8 years. I believe her mother said that this started around 2006, 2007. And she started, doing this activism, like I said, this black academia, and doing this grassroots activism work and getting kind of into politics and local politics, and, being part of the city council and being very involved with the local city government. And she worked her way up to president of the NAACP's Spokane, Washington chapter as a white woman in blackface. Pretending to be black. And apparently people have had their suspicions, but whenever people will question her about it, they're implying that she would stage these hate crimes. I'm going to include lots of links, so please read up about it, because of course I'm giving you, the bare background of the story, and the story is real crazy. But apparently whenever people would try and question her about it, she would stage these hate crimes, right? She would stage, oh, somebody left a package at my house, somebody painted a swastika, I discovered a swastika, but none of these hate crimes could ever be verified. So people started wondering if maybe she was doing them herself. And apparently the most recent one was a threatening package that was left in a mailbox that only she had the key to. So people were saying like, oh, did you do this yourself? Like, how did it get here? She was like, oh, why would I do this? Why would I terrorize myself and terrorize my family and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. But apparently, you know, they're insinuating that she would do these hate crimes against herself to kind of take the pressure off of herself when people started questioning, because apparently people have questioned for years whether or not she was actually a black woman, but a lot of it got let go because of this hate crime thing, or got let go because, you know, well, she's doing so much, you know, work for the black community, we just gonna let it go, basically. But apparently the local buzz about was she or wasn't she was getting to the point where it was getting to be too much to ignore. So a local newspaper in Spokane decided to kind of, you know, investigate. And I'm sure they thought it was just going to be like some, you know, little whatever story. And now their little story is like all over the internet and on all the major news sites. So like shout outs to them. Journalism work, real journalism work, fucking uncovering some shit. They decided to investigate. They reached out to her parents. They traveled to her childhood home. And they met her parents, and they discovered to their fucking shock and awe and surprise that her parents were white, that her mother and father were white. I believe the mother's name is Rachel Dolezal. I can't think of the father's name, but the mother said, you know, she's white. She's a white woman. She's a Caucasian. And she said we have like German and Czech and maybe Swedish blood, but she's a blonde white woman. They brought out fucking family photos of this bitch. Apparently they brought out her birth certificate, which has Caucasian listed. Like shit got very real. You know, and her parents said, they asked like, oh, like why didn't you ever say anything? And the mom said like, well, you know, we never thought that it was our place to say anything if this is how she wants to live her life, and she completely cut us off. You know, of course we would rather she be honest, but we didn't really feel it was our place to say anything. And then the mom was like, but we agreed that if anyone ever came looking and asking questions, that we would tell the truth, that we're not going to lie. Which was why when this local newspaper showed up at their front door, you know, it was kind of like when you know that you've done something or that you've been a part of something, and for like all these years you've just been waiting for the other shoe to fall, waiting for the other shoe to fall, you know, waiting for that person to come knock at your door. And then when that day finally comes, like you're not even surprised, right? You're just like, well, I knew this day would come. And they basically revealed everything. They exposed her ass. Exposed. This bitch is exposed all over the internet. So, essentially, this woman is a fraud. She's a white woman that's been masquerading as a black woman for at least the last 8 years. And the internet really just imploded over this. I feel like this shit is so fucked up on so many levels, honestly. Like, this video is probably going to be mad long because this shit is like, how many levels of hell are there? 9 levels? There's shit is like 9th level hell fucked up. If that's not it, please feel free to correct me. The fucking level where it's like ice cold and you like cry and like the tears freeze on your face and you have like an ice ball. Like that is how ice cold fucked up this story is. First of all, I feel like this woman is clearly disturbed. I feel like she's psychotic. I feel it takes a certain amount of psychosis to commit to this type of deception for years. I mean, and this woman was committed. Facebook page, Twitter account, Instagram account. Her Instagram was like Afrocentric femme, like, you know, and there's also part of the backstory which said that she's married to this black man, and like her husband was in on it. And I'm not even gonna get into her husband being in on it. There's also like a portion of the story where she's been like passing off 2 of her adopted brothers, 2 of the 4 kids that her white parents had adopted. She's like passing off 2 of her adopted brothers like as her children. So she would be like post up pictures of them on her Facebook and like, oh, so proud of my sons this, my son's that. Now apparently her and her husband, I think it said that they also have 2 children of their own, but she also passed off, you know, these other black kids as her kids. Like, it's like all this like just real craziness, you know? And I just feel like, also before I even get into my breakdown, I want to say that the internet is fucking crazy. The internet is crazy. Like, this woman moved away from home. She created a whole lie world complete with a backstory as to why no one would fucking, you know, question her parents or try to talk to her parents. She created this whole, you know, digital space like I said, Instagram and Facebook and this and that with all these pictures of herself, you know, living this lie that she's living now. And she got away with that shit for 8 years. Like, this bitch is the catfish of the fucking millennium. Like, she really reinvented herself and created this whole lie world. I was just like, fuck it, this is about to be my reality from now on. I don't give a fuck. And rose to be president of the Spokane chapter of the NAACP. This bitch has met fucking Angela Davis, taking pictures with her. Like, this shit is really off the chain. This shit is really off the fucking chain. Like, I can't even... This shit's wild. We haven't seen her come out and make a formal statement as of now. But people, of course, have, like, dug through and found, like, old interviews and shit like that of her. People asking her, like, well, are you African-American? And she was like, bitch froze like a deer in the headlights and literally said, I don't understand the question, and, like, ran off. There have been some other reports going around saying that she said, like, I'm African, but I haven't seen anything official of her saying, like, well, I'm African-American and I don't know what my mother's talking about, even though, like, they fucking met your mother. Whatever. I'm African-American. I don't know what my mother's talking about. And you guys can feel free to DNA test me and this, that, and the third. Like, just really, like I said, like, clinging on to this lie. And, you know, on some deny until caught, deny till you pass caught, deny till you can't deny anymore. Like, she's on some other shit. But we haven't seen her make an official statement yet. So we're mostly just seeing people's reactions, you know, kind of across the internet to this story. And I feel like there have been 4 basic reactions that I'm kind of seeing across the board. The first one is, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. We should be flattered. We should be flattered. We should be flattered. We should be flattered. I hear this shit all the time from people. And I really feel like if you really think that, then you're a fucking dumbass. Like, you are a fucking moron if you really think that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. One, everybody in the real world knows that imitation is not the sincerest form of flattery. If you've seen the movie fucking Single White Female, if you've seen the fucking, basically the remake of that movie, The Roommate, with fucking, Leighton Meester from Gossip Girl, like, there have been all these movies about, what was that old movie about, the actresses, where the aging actress, like, takes the girl under her wing and the girl, like, steals her career and, like, steals her life and steals her work, like, steals everything. Like, that is a common, you know, movie trope, TV show, like, that you meet someone, there was an episode of Doug like that you meet someone and they start emulating you and how creepy and fucking annoying it is. Imitation is not the sincerest fucking form of flattery. Everybody in the real world knows this. We have an entire series of laws and rules and regulations around plagiarism, around fucking copyrights. If you fucking copy somebody else's paper and you hand it in and you get caught and they say you're a plagiarist and you say, well, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, it ain't gonna do shit. If you copy somebody's fucking invention that's patented and copywritten and you fucking try to push it off as your own and they say you copy this and you say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, nothing's gonna happen. You're probably gonna get arrested or something like that, right? Like, imitation is not the sincerest form of flattery. I feel like that is so immature. There's a lot of grown people out here that clearly still have the mindsets of 9-year-olds and they just say the most crazy immature shit. Like, imitation is not the sincerest form of flattery. Okay? Fucking cultural appropriation is not flattering. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that in there as well while we're talking about this. Anyone that's taken a basic racism 101 class should understand these topics. This is like the most basic of statements. And if you can understand this, this is not the class for you. You need to go back to racism 101, excuse me, because this is fucking high level critical race theory. So just don't even leave a comment, talk about imitation is the sincerest form of flattery and we should be flattered and blah, like you're a child. And what did Richard Sherman say? I don't fucking converse with children. I don't argue with children. I don't debate with them. It would be like me sitting down and arguing with a 5-year-old if I fucking hear that phrase come out of your dumb ass mouth. Like, don't even... No. There has also been some really annoying chatter about how Black women want to be white or Black women imitate white women, so this should be like okay, which again I also feel like it's a really immature statement. That's why I'm kind of putting it in the same category as like the imitation is the sincerest form of flattery shit. That's a really fucking immature statement. Just like I said in my Black Girls Are Poppin' video, you have people that are removing the entire context of the white gaze, of Eurocentric standards of beauty, of fucking how Black women grow up in this white supremacist society that pushes Eurocentric you know, beauty ideals and standards on us, and how that affects the way that we view ourselves. But we don't literally want to be white. This woman literally wanted to be black. She reinvented herself as a black woman. She didn't just fucking pick and choose black features like how we see these white bitches, Kardashians, and all these other bitches doing. She didn't just pick and choose butts and lips and this and that. This bitch really literally wanted to be a black woman. It's creepy as hell. It's a difference, right? There's always a difference. It's not comparable. Like, it doesn't even make sense to compare black women to white women in this instance. Like, it's a false equivalence, which I've talked about before. Whenever I hear that, well, why can't white women do this because black women do that? Just stop. We're being raised in a certain society that imbues us and conditions us with certain ideas, but y'all just love to like gloss right over that and like hop, skip, and jump over that into saying that we are somehow on equal footing with white women, and that's just not the case. Like, it's immature. You're immature. You have an immature mindset. You obviously don't understand critical race theory, so I'm not even going to have any of these conversations with you. So, again, go back to Race Relations 101. This is not the course for you. This is an advanced course, okay? And I got that from Dr. Joy DeGrasse because she says that in her lectures. So that's the first reason. 2, the second reason that I've seen people giving, or reaction or whatever, that I've seen people giving for this and kind of trying to explain this away is, well, she's not hurting anybody, so who cares? I kind of feel like if you feel that way, then you are a shady ass motherfucker. You are one of these people that's like, well, what you don't know won't hurt you type of shit, right? Like, is she out here killing people? Has she killed anyone? No. But I think it is a stretch to say that no one is being hurt by this. I think that it's a stretch to say that she's not hurting people. Like, this woman is literally occupying black female spaces while in blackface, right? Like, she's teaching Africana classes while in blackface. She's teaching African American studies classes while in blackface. She's teaching a class called Black Women Struggle as a white woman in blackface. Really think about that. Really fucking think about that, right? Like, she is utilizing and appropriating black culture and black struggle and black female struggle specifically in order to further her career, occupy spaces that could be occupied by real black women, you know, get some type of political activist agenda going. And it's weird. It's weird. And it is hurtful. And it does hurt people. And there is a perversion to that. There's a real perversity around all of this that it really gives me the creeps. Like, you are taking up a space. You are taking up a space to talk about oppression, but like, you taking up that space in and of itself is oppressive because you are a white woman in blackface, right? Like, there is some real deep, heavy levels to this shit, right? It's weird. It's really weird. And actually, my phone is over there, but I saw a Tumblr post that actually kind of went a little bit more in depth about this. I'm gonna grab my phone. Hold on. All right. Here it is. I'm disgusted and hurt. She managed to dupe, swindle, and trick so many people into believing that her, a white woman, was black. Excuse me. It isn't just her fucking appropriation and her self-tan. It is that she had the blatant audacity to claim an experience that wasn't hers. She claimed a lifestyle that she never experienced. It isn't just her fucking appropriation and her self-tan. Oh, sorry, wait. Yeah. Her oppression as a black woman and person that she had seminars on, wrote about, talked about, it's all lies. These aren't her societal burdens. All she did was observe and take notes and take our fucking oppression and wear it like a Halloween costume. That's, like I said, it's perverse, right? It's perverse. It's like some Buffalo Bill type shit. It's like some, it puts the lotion on its skin type shit. Like, you a psychotic bitch. Are you one step away from like skinning a black woman and like wearing her fucking skin around? It's disturbing. It's fucking weird. Nothing she has said in her time parading as a black woman is her experience. All the racism she felt was ours, and she used it to dabble in a culture because she was bored with hers. No words can explain the hurt I'm feeling. And the post actually went a little bit longer, but you can't say that this isn't hurting people, right? Like, this is hurting people now that it's come out. And, you know, she also, like I said, they're insinuating that she framed these hate crimes whenever, you know, she got close to getting found out. So who did that hurt? Her family, that, you know, her kids that didn't know what was going on, maybe other black people in the community that now they live in a state of fear because they're like, yo, somebody's committing hate crimes, like, what the fuck? That's hurting people, you know? I just feel like when you start getting into this level of deceits, I kind of feel like you're automatically hurting people because it takes something, again, some type of perversion or something to, like, even get to this level of fucking deceit, right? Like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre and it's hurtful. You can't say that she's not hurting people, you know? Not to mention her friends, you know? Maybe black women that felt like they could talk to her, relate to her, you know, talk to her about certain things. Imagine, like, you feel like you can talk to a friend about something and you come to find out that friend was lying about everything. You feel hurt, you feel betrayed. Maybe younger black girls that have been, I mean, not just black girls, but, you know, black boys too, that have been in maybe some of her classes or lectures or seminars that maybe looked up to her as a mentor. And again, it felt like she was a safe person that they could talk to about certain things involving being black. And now they found out, again, that this whole thing was a lie. That's hurtful. That's hurtful. That can hurt people, you know? All these people that she's been deceiving for years, this fucking commitment, right? Her brothers that now have to find out that they were pawns in whatever this little sick charade of her claiming that they were her sons. That is fucking hurtful. All the organizations that she's worked with, the NAACP and the city council and the local government that now have had their reputations tarnished because now they're looking into the backgrounds of all these organizations because you have people that are saying like, oh, well, like, did they not run background checks? Like, how did this go unchecked for so long? So maybe someone is about to get fired, right? Somebody's going to have to take the fall for that. How did she manage to get this far through the system? So maybe somebody's about to get fired and lose their job and their livelihood because this bitch decided she wanted to be black, right? That's hurtful. That's hurtful. Your actions have ramifications. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the shit that she did is and can hurt people. Like, it is hurting people, and it does have the capacity to hurt people. Like, there's just a complete lack of regard for anyone else that comes with this level of deceit, in my opinion. And that's hurtful. Like, that is fucking hurtful. Like, she obviously did not care about hurting people to get what she wanted, which was, you know, this career and this and that as a fake ass black woman. Like, she dove head into this level of deceit, and I feel like that is hurtful. You can't say that she's not hurting people unless, like I said, you wanted these shady motherfuckers that's just like, well, what you don't know won't hurt you, and I don't give a fuck, right? And I'm just not, I don't think you can, like I said, just because she didn't kill anybody, it's because she didn't physically hurt anybody, doesn't mean that she hasn't hurt people, doesn't mean that this isn't impacting people's lives. So that's two. The third kind of response and reaction and whatever that I see being thrown around is that, well, she's doing more in the black community than most black people are. Well, she knows more about black culture than me. She's blacker than me. She makes a better sweet potato pie than me. She's blacker than me. She makes better wings than me. She's blacker than me. All this fucking shit about how, oh, she's doing so much for the community and she knows so much about black culture. Basically on some, let's give her an honorary hood pass type shit. Which, no, motherfucking hell to the nah. Like, I hate when people say this. I feel like it's such a narrow-minded thing to say. Like, for one, there are a lot of people that are doing things in the black community. My phone is turned on, so I'm sure you guys can hear that email noise. But there are a lot of people that are doing things, a lot of black people, that are doing things in the black community. Just because you don't fucking read about it in the white supremacist media, just because you don't see it on the blog, just because, you know, you don't see what Jalen Rose is doing, what Akon is doing, doesn't mean that there aren't people in the black community that are fucking taking care of their business. This white bitch doesn't get a fucking cookie for doing shit in the black community, especially considering the fact that everything she's accomplished in the black community, she did it while in blackface. I feel like her wearing the blackface kind of balances out the shit that she did in the black community. Like, I don't really think it's that fucking difficult to grasp that everything she did in the black community is kind of tarnished by the fact that she's a white woman that did it in blackface. Like, that is a problem. That is a problem. No one is trying to take away, like, no one, I don't want to say no one's trying to take away, but no one can take away what she's accomplished, of course. Like, she did go to school. She did earn her degrees. She did learn all this shit about black culture and about African-American studies and this, that, and the third. And she has been doing this work in the community and this activism work and this grassroots work. And, you know, she's been working with Black Lives Matter and, like I said, working with Angela Davis and this and that. But it's like, okay, obviously you worked very hard. You put in the time, the school, the hours in the community. But it's like you that just makes the whole thing even stranger because you still did all that in blackface. And why? What was the point? She could have accomplished every single thing that she accomplished being herself, being a white person, being a white ally. Obviously, you have some type of understanding of the way that these systems work. So why did you feel the need to do this in blackface? It's weird. It's bizarre. Why did you feel the need to lie about your race? There have been other NAACP leaders that were white. The NAACP was founded with white members. It is a multiracial organization. So why did you feel that, like, so if the end goal was to, like, become the president of the NAACP, why did you feel the need to put on this blackface? Like, it doesn't make sense. There are white allies. There are fucking militant pro-black white allies like John Brown, who's a famous historical figure. I will include links if you guys have never heard or read about John Brown. But you could have accomplished, because obviously I'm not talking to her directly, but she could have accomplished everything that she accomplished as a white person. I mean, she did accomplish it as a white person because she's white, but you guys get what I'm saying, as a white person publicly. So what was the point of this charade of doing it in blackface and pretending to be black? That's what I'm saying. I kind of think this woman is, like, mentally disturbed, because why? It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you lying about race? Just be a white ally. Like, why are you putting on this fucking performance? Like, she just wanted to be black so bad that she created this whole false identity, like this false racial identity, and ran with it and fucking committed to it, like really fucking committed. And I feel like the excuse of, oh, well, she did so much in the black community doesn't fly, because everything she did in blackface. I feel like the excuse of, well, she knows so much about black culture and this and that, she knows more than me, so she's more blacker than me. That's fun and cute to joke about when we joke about it on social media, on Tumblr and Twitter and this and that, Instagram. But that excuse does not really hold water. Like, that's not a real excuse. Like, for one, the majority of black culture, the shit that we joke about is based off of stereotypes. Like, okay, like, yes, she fucking will post on her Facebook that she, like, knows how to make 2 type of sweet potato pies and knows how to make chicken wings, and, like, yes, she fucking be posting about her braids and this, that, and a third, but all that is based off of stereotypes, and we can't use those stereotypes to quantify blackness. Like, okay, she knew about every black stereotype, so what? The bitch still ain't black. She's still not fucking black. And I put on my Instagram that when I was living in New York, I was, like, very much, like, I lived in Washington Heights. All my friends were Dominicans. I had this, like, long straight hair. I was, like, rocking this Dominican blowout. Like, I spent time in DR. I could fucking dance bachata. I was fucking eating rice and beans. I was using all the Dominican slang, fucking mama huevo, everything. But at the end of the day, I'm not Dominican. I know I'm not Dominican. I never told anyone I was Dominican, even though I used to get mistaken for Dominican or Afro-Latina all the time, even though I fucking, you guys know I kind of feel a kinship with Hispanics. I feel like we're kissing cousins in a way. Hispanic is not a racist in ethnicity. So to be around black Dominicans, they're black like me. Their ethnicity is different. Their ethnicity is Hispanic. And then let's say, like, their nationality is Dominican. So we do have a difference of ethnicity and nationality. And I would never be like, well, I'm Dominican. I'm not Dominican. Just because I fucking do all those things doesn't mean I'm Dominican. Just because she did all these things doesn't make her black. And again, it's funny to joke about, but I see people that are, like, really for real. Like, they're legit. Like, well, she knew how to do this, and this. And she knew all this shit about black culture. And she went to a HBCU. She's blacker than me. Ha, 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 ha. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. The bitch still isn't black. She was still a white lady in fucking blackface. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like the people that are even saying that are like these people that have this internalized racism and anti-blackness where they low-key feel like that I'm an Oreo. I don't eat fried chicken, so I'm not black, haha. I'm white on the inside. She's blacker than me, haha. That's coming from a certain place. Those statements are coming from a certain place. And 9 times out of 10, that place is fucking anti-blackness and internalized racism that you have within yourself, where you don't want to be black, or you feel like you're not black, or you feel like you don't identify with black people because you have bought into these stereotypes and these ideas and these concepts about what it means to be black, right? Like, this woman has built this racial identity around stereotypes and around caricatures, and it's problematic, right? Like, you can't build a racial identity around fucking fake tanner and braids and sweet potato pie. Like, you know, that's not what it means to be black. See also fucking Iffy Azuzu, Outback Jane, albino kangaroo ass that thinks being black is fucking having a fat ass and riding black dick. More to being black than these caricatures and these stereotypes, you know? And I feel like that's really important. I feel like that's a very important distinction to make. Like I said, I could be into everything Dominican. I could be into everything Japanese or fucking Hungarian or this or that. That doesn't mean I'm Hungarian. That doesn't mean I'm Japanese. That doesn't mean I'm Dominican. Like, I am who and what I am. And buying into stereotypes and caricatures doesn't mean I'm anything but what I am. Right? As much as she knows about being black stereotypes, black caricatures, as much school as she went to learn how to be a great niggerologist, fucking, as much as she knows about, you know, as much as she's educated herself on black struggle and black female struggle and black culture, you know, as much as she's done for the black community, at the end of the day, she is not black, and she will never be black. Like, I'm sorry, you're white, honey, just deal with it. From The Craft, for those of you that don't know. Like, you know, she always has the option of going home, washing that shit off her skin, taking out them braids if she wants, and picking her whiteness up again. And that is a crucial distinction to make. Real black people, we can't do that. I can't fucking go home and take my blackness off if I don't want to fucking be part of this lifestyle anymore. She can do that. That is a crucial distinction. All it takes is for her to have one bad experience with a cop or this person or that person. I don't know her, so I'm not saying that she hasn't had these types of experiences, but all it takes is for her to fucking have one bad experience, end up on the wrong end of a gun or something like that. She can go home and say, I'm not about this life anymore. She could fucking wash her face, take that shit out of her hair, pack up all her shit, quit the NAACP, move away from Spokane, and disappear and be white Rachel again. We can do that. We cannot do that. And that is an important, crucial fucking distinction to make. And that also kind of brings me to the fourth commentary that I've seen on this, which is, well, why can't we just be whatever we want? Why can't we just be whatever we want? Why can't people just ethnically identify with whatever they want? And yo, this is the most annoying one. This is really the most annoying shit that I've seen floating around the internet. This is some motherfucking white privileged ass bullshit if I have ever heard it. I feel like this mindset is not even possible without fucking being white and privileged. And that includes coons that are also saying the same thing, because they obviously have been indoctrinated with some white supremacist ideals. Because anybody with half a brain will understand why this shit does not work. We do not get to fucking choose our ethnic identities. Oh, well, why can't we be whatever we want? Like, as we saw in McKinney, whiteness is invisible, right? And I've talked about this before. I was talking about this on Twitter the other day. Like, white people really don't understand race because they never have to think about race. They never have to talk about race. Race is not a part of their life growing up. race is not a huge part of their identity because whiteness is all encompassing and it's invisible. So of course it seems logical for them to be like, well, why can't we just pick and choose whatever we want to be? For those of us that fucking actually grew up with race as a part of our daily lives, Black, Hispanic, whatever, that is a huge, for a lot of us, most of us, that is a huge part of our identity. We are raised to believe, to see ourselves as a part of a group. White people are raised to see themselves as part of an individual that can make all these type of individual choices. Black people and members of other groups are raised to see ourselves as a part of a group, and that group is a huge part of our identity. So how the fuck can you even fix your mouth to say, well, why can't we just choose our ethnic identities and everyone can be whatever they want? That's some white shit. Only white people feel that way. The rest of us know the truth. We cannot all just be whatever the fuck we want. Like I said, fucking, I cannot choose to be a white person. I can't wake up tomorrow and be like, well, I ethnically identify as white today, so today the cops are going to leave me alone. You hear how fucking bizarre and just absurdly fucking ridiculous it sounds? Like, race, to white people, whiteness is invisible. Race is conceptual to them. It's a concept. You know, you always hear white people saying, oh, race is a social construct and this and that. It's something you can change at will if you want. To most Black people and other fucking persons of color, race is not an abstract concept. It is solid. It is concrete. It is a solid marker of our identity. Even if we don't feel that way personally, we know that society sees us that way. Society sees us as Black, as Hispanic, as Middle Eastern, as Asian, as this or as that. And that is not a fucking something that we can just put down and pick up whenever we fucking feel like it. And it is so frustrating having to explain this to people. It really is. It really fucking is. Like, Black people never get to stop being Black. I never get to say I choose to fucking ethnically identify as white today, so cops leave me alone. This bitch can go home and wash her face and decide she's white again, and the cops will leave her ass alone. Like, you know, we are born into a society. We are born Black into this society. And we are born Black into a society that sees our Blackness as something. Right? Black people don't get to identify ourselves and live lives that we choose, right? We are constantly trying to navigate in hostile, oppressive spaces under white supremacy, and white people constantly think that they can cherry pick the fun parts of our Black identity or our ethnic identity or our racial identity without having to deal with any of that pesky racism or oppression, and then they could fix their mouths to say the same thing to us. Well, I don't understand why you can't just pick a racial or ethnic identity. What? Are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking for real? Like, that's not the fuck how the shit works. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Why can't we fucking pick and choose our ethnic and racial identities? Because Black people never get to stop being Black. We don't get to pick and choose shit. We are what we are. And honestly, any Black people that you see even saying this, like, oh, we should be able to pick and choose whatever we want. Those people are coons. They're coons. They're fucking indoctrinated with white supremacy, and they're fighting for white privilege. They're fighting for a privilege that they don't even have. They're fighting for this white woman to have the privilege to fucking ethnically be whoever she wants, which is a privilege that they don't have. Like, these people love their masters. Like I've said multiple times on Twitter at this point, they love their masters. They will do anything. They will die. They will die for them. Like, so just don't even fucking engage. Like, this whole shit revolves around privilege. Like, the sheer unmitigated gall of this woman to fucking even go through with this is crazy. Like, that is all tied up in her white privilege. You can't opt out of white privilege. You can't opt out of racism. She was raised as a white woman in this country, so she was imbued with a certain amount of privilege and a certain bias. And you can't opt out of that and say, I'm gonna just dress up in blackface and I'm gonna just pick my ethnic racial identity. Like, what are we even talking about? What are we talking about? It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. This whole story is just so stressful and bizarre. Like, it really is. And there's a couple side notes that I want to say before I close out, because this is giving me a headache, y'all. Like, one of the main things that I want to say before I go, anyone that, I'll include a Tumblr link, but anyone that follows me on Tumblr saw that we've been kind of having conversations about this. I see a lot of people trying to compare this woman's racial identity to gender identity, and I find that to be extremely, extremely, extremely offensive. You know, people have been saying, like, oh, if we can change our gender, we could change our gender identity, why can't we change our ethnic or racial identity? They're trying to link it to Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I don't give a fuck about Caitlyn Jenner. That's why I didn't make a video. I don't give a fuck about Caitlyn Jenner. I don't understand why that shit was news. I don't care. I literally don't give one good goddamn about Caitlyn Jenner. I don't give an iota of a fuck about Caitlyn Jenner. But I will say that saying, like, oh, well, if Bruce can choose to become Caitlyn, why can't Rachel choose to become white, is extremely offensive. It's extremely fucking offensive. It's extremely disrespectful to transgender people. I really don't like this idea that gender identification is something that you choose, that it's a choice, that people fucking just wake up in the morning like, oh, I'm gonna just be a woman today, or I'm gonna just be a man today, and that they're throwing Caitlyn Jenner around as an example of this. I find to be really fucking disgusting. And this also kind of gets into sexuality politics, that people say, like, oh, well, you're choosing to be gay, you're choosing to do this, you're choosing to do that. It's a really weird mindset that I do not respect at all. I don't respect it. I feel like people don't choose to be part of marginalized groups. We don't choose to be black. We are what we are. We don't choose to be, well, I'm not gay, but, you know, people don't choose to be gay. They are what they are. I also do not think that people choose to be trans. Who the fuck would choose that? Fucking, especially if you're a person of color. Trans people of color are fucking dying out here in these streets. Like, no one would choose to be part of a marginalized group. We are what we are. And I feel like it is extremely offensive and disrespectful to be like, well, if Bruce can choose to be Caitlyn, Rachel can choose to be black. Shut the fuck up. Shut your offensive ass up. I'm not here for that. I don't think that shit is cool. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's a reasonable comparison. It's oversimplifying gender identities as well as racial identities. You do have people that are, you know, trans people and non-binary and people that are struggling, and you acting like people are just choosing gender identities and sexuality and race like fucking jelly beans. Like, they just reaching in the bag and pulling some shit out. Like, grow the fuck up. And again, learn some shit. Like, you're so immature. So immature, no critical thought at all, no type of understanding of the complexities of a lot of the things that we're talking about. Not even a good comparison. So there's that. And I also want to say that I saw this crazy ass tweet of this white feminist talking about, what does this say about the societal expectations of white women? That shit just made me fucking want to stop the planet and get off. It is amazing how white women and white feminists will find a way to make every motherfucking thing about them. It really is. We're talking about a white woman that's been living in blackface for the last 8 years. And y'all saying, what does this say about expectations on them? And I already know this is going to lead to all these think pieces about the proliferance of black culture and the grip that black culture has on these white kids, that evil black culture has on these white kids and on these white people, making them feel like they want to be black. And I just feel like white people, get lives, get a life. Get the fuck over yourselves. Like, I don't even have any words for this shit. These people have been quiet as church mice all week with this McKinney shit. These white feminists haven't said shit about this black girl that was assaulted. But now they want to speak up about the unfair assaults or expectations on white women because of black culture. Fuck you. That's what I say. That's what I say to fucking white women and white feminists. Fuck y'all. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't never gonna be shit. Y'all are racist. You hate black women, you hate black people, you hate black culture. You can all just motherfucking go fuck yourselves. So there's that. And before I close out, there's just a couple more things that I want to say. Getting back into the whole idea of race as a social construct, I feel like people love to say that race is a social construct, but systematic oppression is not. All right? First of all, social constructs are real. Capitalism is a social construct. Money, the concept of money, funds, paper money, cash, exchanging money for goods is a social construct. It's a concept. Race is also a social construct. However, systemic oppression in this country is not. It is very real. It is very legit. And no matter how you ethnically identify or racially identify, if you are actually Black, you will be oppressed at the end of the day. And if you are not Black, you will not be oppressed at the end of the day. Motherfucking Chet Hayes, I'm talking to your bitch ass. Like I said, these people want to cherry pick the fun and leave the bullshit. And that's not, we don't get to do that. We can't. We don't get to choose. We are what we are. So, you know, this whole concept of picking a racial identity and ethnic identity, this transracial shit, this is really only applicable to white people, because white people are the only ones where their race is invisible. Their race is like, what is it? O blood, the kind of blood that's applicable to everyone. Like, white people can be anything because they're white. You see white people darkening their skin to play Black people, to play Asians. You know, we see these whitewashed casts. They really have made white people into the every person. So white people feel like they can be and do anything. And the rest of us are still second-class citizens that have to stay in our box and have to stay in our lane, right? And that's it's white privilege, it's white supremacy, it's white entitlement. And this woman, Rachel, you know, that was the thing that really stood out to me. One, the psychosis, because bitch, you gotta be crazy to commit to this shit for 6 to 8 years, right? And get away with it. Your ass is motherfucking crazy as hell and committed. But the other thing that stood out to me was the white privilege and the sense of entitlement and just the gall, the sheer unmitigated gall of a white woman saying, I want to be Black, so I'm gonna take that shit. What? You created a whole lie world. You perpetuated this false identity, and you didn't give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck about people finding, like, who that could hurt, people finding out. You know, you just felt like Black people are cool and awesome, and I want to be Black, right? But a big part of us being cool and awesome comes from our struggles, comes from things that we experienced as children, comes from things that we've internalized, we've conditioned, we've conceptualized, and you can't just pick this shit up. Again, you can't pick it up. You can't decide at fucking 30 years old, I'm gonna be Black now, and pick up the cool stuff without having an intimate knowledge of the struggle, which this white woman who was raised as a white woman, who lived her life as a white woman until 8 years ago, doesn't have. I don't care how many classes this bitch has took. I don't care how many Black dicks this bitch has rode. I don't care how many sweet potato pies this fucking bitch has cooked. She is white. She grew up white. She does not have an intimate understanding of what it means to be Black. It's just like how fucking nowadays you have a lot of athletes that feel like fuck the sports analysts and fuck the journalists. Like, you know, no matter how much you fucking study the game, whatever sport I'm playing, you've never stepped out on that basketball court. You've never stepped out on that field. You don't know what it feels like to actually be a player and play the game. And there's always going to be something that is lost in translation. I don't care what you do, you're not going to get it. And it is the same exact thing. It's the same thing when it comes to race. It's the same thing when it comes to culture. It's the same thing when it comes to ethnicity. And only white privilege and this idea of white supremacy makes white people think that they could just bypass all that shit and just take everything good from every other race. You know? White people, be a teacher, be an educator, be an ally, be you know, all that shit if that's what you want to do, but don't present yourself as something you're not. Y'all know how I feel about the motherfucking fake ass shit. And this was blackface, and it was fucking crazy. This bitch is psychotic. She obviously has some type of psychotic break. She got some type of psychosis going on. Like I said, she's one step away from it puts the lotion on its skinning a bitch, and wearing a bitch's skin around, talking about, it's me, Rachel. Like, this shit is too much. This shit's crazy. Those are just my thoughts on it. Of course, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You know, I'm going to include lots of links for you. I really encourage everyone to read. I'm going to make it the first link, the top link, which is the story from the local newspaper. It's really, really, really long, but it is a good read. Excuse me. I know a lot of people have been getting their information from BuzzFeed, which has like a really short, abbreviated article. And most of the articles that I've seen have been short and abbreviated. The main article really goes in depth into her background and her parents and shit like that. And it's crazy, but I mean, it's fascinating. But I feel like this is shit crazy. Shit is crazy. And this is really like some real white privilege, unmitigated gall shit gone haywire white bitches gone wild type shit. Thanks for watching. I know this one is super, 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 super long, but this shit is crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.